Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Sotah. We are up to Perek Aleph Mishnah Bet. Today's Mishnayot should be Le'elui Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana Ranbayev, Eliyahu ben Burcha Israel of Chana bad Miriam, Sason ben Raya, and Yoshua ben Shifra, Menuchatam began Eden, Amen, and Leavdi ben Chaim lechaim v'derefua shelemav Daniel Shalom ben Rosa, Betor Shah Chorei Israel. A woman does not become a Sotah unless her husband's warning and her seclusion meet certain conditions. Ketzad mekanela, how does he warn her? Amar la bifnei shnaim al tedabri im ish ploni. If he said to her before two witnesses, do not talk to so-and-so, v'dibra imo, and she talked to him, then even if she was alone with him, adaini muteret lebeta umuteret lechol bitruma, she is still permitted to her husband, and she is still permitted to eat tiruma if she is the wife of a Kohen. Certain portions must be separated from produce grown in Eretz Israel. The first portion is tiruma, a standard amount of 1/50th of the crop, which must be given to a Kohen. Tiruma may be eaten only by the Kohen, his wife, and the other members of his household. It is derived from a verse in the Torah that a Kohen's wife who becomes a Sotah may not eat tiruma. But in this case, since he warned her only against talking with the man and not against being alone with her, the warning is not valid and cannot make her a Sotah, as the Rav explains based off the Gemara in Masechet Sotah, page 5b. However, if he did give her a valid warning, do not be alone with so-and-so before two witnesses. And she then went into a secluded place with him and stayed with him there long enough to be defiled, meaning they were alone together long enough for cohabitation to occur. She does become a Sotah, asura lebeta, v'asura lechol bitruma. As such, she is forbidden to her house, meaning her husband, and she is forbidden to eat tiruma. Now, if a man dies without children, and he has one or more brothers, his widow, called a Yavama, must marry one of the brothers, each of whom is called a Yavam. This marriage is known as Yibum. She is forbidden to marry anyone besides one of the brothers unless she performs the procedure of Chalitza, which is described in chapter 7, Mishnah 2, with one of the brothers. The Mishnah teaches what must happen when a woman becomes a Sotah, but before she drinks the Sotah water, her husband dies, making her Yevama. If her husband died without children, she may do Chalitza with one of his brothers, but she may not do Yibum. The husband's brothers are forbidden to marry her because she is forbidden to them just as she was forbidden to her husband as a Sotah when he was alive. The Torah indicates that a Yevama who is suspected of having committed adultery when her husband was alive may not marry her Yavam. Nevertheless, like any other Yevama, she is forbidden to marry another man unless she does Chalitza with one of the brothers. And that is end of Mishnah Bet. Now, like Mishnah Bet taught us, if a Kohen's wife becomes a Sotah, she is no longer allowed to eat tiruma. This prohibition remains in place until she drinks the bitter water and is found innocent. Therefore, if it is known that she is guilty, or if she may not drink the water for whatever reason, she may never go back to eating tiruma. She may not eat tiruma again, even if she is a daughter of a Kohen. Normally, the daughter of a Kohen who married a non-Kohen may go back to eating tiruma after she is widowed or divorced, provided that she has no children from him. If she is a Sotah, however, she is forbidden to eat tiruma, even in these circumstances. Mishnah Gimel cites several cases in which this happens. These Sotahs are prohibited to eat tiruma forever and are prohibited to their husbands forever. One who says to her husband, I am defiled to you, meaning she admits that she had committed adultery. A wife is usually not believed to say that she committed adultery. A Sotah, however, is believed since there is reason to suspect her of adultery even without her admission. One about whom witnesses came and testified that she is defiled. Even after a Sotah has drunk the bitter water and survived, witnesses are believed to say that she is guilty. The reason is that the water has no power if there are witnesses to her adultery. This is so even if the witnesses are in another country and will not come to the court to testify. The very fact that the sin was witnessed makes the water powerless. One who says, I will not drink the Sotah water. Even a Sotah who claims to be innocent does not need to drink the water if she does not want to. However, she remains a Sotah, which means that she may not live with her husband or eat tiruma for the rest of her life. One whose husband does not want her to drink the water. Even if a Sotah is willing to drink the water, but her husband does not want her to, she may not drink it and she remains a Sotah. And one whose husband cohabited with her on the way to the court in Jerusalem. If both the Sotah and her husband want her to drink the water, they must appear before the great Sanhedrin, the highest court of the land, which meets in the temple in Jerusalem. If he violates the prohibition against cohabiting with her, for example, when on their way to the court in Jerusalem, the bitter water is powerless. This is derived from a verse in the Torah. In each of these cases, she is either known to be guilty or she is not tested with the water to see whether she is innocent. She therefore remains a Sotah who is prohibited to cohabit with her husband and to eat terumah. The Mishnah begins to describe the procedure that a Sotah undergoes after her husband finds out that she disobeyed his warning and he wants her to be tested with the bitter water. Ketzad oseh, what must he do with her in order to have her drink the bitter water? Molicha lebeit din shebeoto makom, he takes her and the witnesses to the court of that place, the place where the couple lives, and the judges hear the witnesses' testimony about the warning and the seclusion. If the judges decide that she is indeed a Sotah and may therefore drink the water, umosrino shnei tamidei chachamim, they give him 2 Torah scholars to accompany him and his wife to Jerusalem, shema yavo aleh baderech, because otherwise he might cohabit with her on the way. Being Torah scholars, they will know what to tell him to prevent him from sinning. Another reason to send escorts with them is to prevent the husband from being alone with his wife, which might lead to sin. Although one man is enough to prevent them from being alone, the court provides 2 men, so that if the husband does sin, 2 witnesses can testify before the court that he did, as the Gemara explains on page 7a in Masechet Sotah. The court will then refrain from preparing the bitter water, since the water does not work in this situation. The water must not be prepared if it will be powerless, because its preparation requires erasing the name of God, which should be avoided whenever possible. Now the next Tana disagrees with the last law. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Ba'alah ne'eman aleh. Rabbi Yehuda says that her husband is trusted not to sin with her, and so they do not need to be accompanied by 2 Torah scholars. Rabbi Yehuda reasons that since we trust our husband to be alone with his wife when she is an idah, and cohabiting with her is a very serious transgression punishable by karet, we can certainly trust him to be alone with his wife when she is a Sotah, and cohabiting with her is a less serious transgression punishable only by lashes. The Tana Kama, on the other hand, argues the opposite. Since the Sotah prohibition is less serious, the temptation to sin is stronger. Therefore, it is precisely in that case that Torah scholars are needed to prevent him from sinning. And the Rav does tell us, Rabbi Yehuda, that Echad does not follow the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. And that is in the Botai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen v'amen.